with Froggy.
Hello, I am Froggy. I am a Warhammer painter and VTuber on Twitch. I mainly do sort of like teaching painting and doing some nice little tutorial videos for people, and I do, yeah, that's kind of it. And I eat paint, but yeah.
Lots of painting. Hi everyone, my name is Mel, and Cross07. I like to classify myself as the extreme makeup athlete. I've completed over 1,000 makeup and body paint looks. I'm a very delusionally optimistic with what can be achieved by gluing something to your head, and I will die on the hill that it should be teeth brushes, not toothbrushes. I'm dying on the hill.
Can I?
Go for it.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tofu. I'm a freelance artist from Czech Republic. I've been streaming for 9 years, so I'm a little bit of a Twitch boomer. And I mostly do art. Like, I never actually streamed anything else than art. And I've streamed my entire art journey from being like a really tiny artist, drawing with my pencils. So I want to show people that you can learn this too if you put enough effort and time into it.
So this is roughly what we're going to go through today, but there's no point me loitering on here. We might as well get straight into it. So to start off with, we're going to talk about the equipment that we use when we do our different types of artistic streams.
So this is mine. It's very neat and tidy. So when I started with a webcam taped to a Sprite bottle just to hold the camera above the Mini. So you don't need like a load of expensive equipment. You don't need a ton of stuff. For lighting, that is kind of important for mini painting, so you can see what you're doing, so chat can see what you're doing. Potentially get a second camera if you have like face cam as well, or a third camera if you then want like a camera on your wet palette, which some people like to see, so they can see you like mixing and what paints you're using. More lighting, always. Like, as you like sort of level up as a painter, you just want better cameras, more lighting, more cameras. It will not get more organized. It will not be less messy. So the top picture is my starting setup when I started. My bottom picture is where I am now. I have even less space now because I have my drawing tablet up sort of all the time with like references for colors and what I'm doing. So yeah, there's going to be stuff everywhere.
It's just always everywhere,
Yeah.
unless you're someone. So for my makeup setup, I have 2 different setups. Mine is just as tidy. This is actually after I tidied it, which is embarrassing. But the first one on the top, that one, as you can see, I have to echo what Froggy has said. More cameras, more lighting, more cameras, more lighting. So what I have on there is I have the 2 curved monitors. I have this is what I use on the weekday streams when I'm doing my makeup. And so in the middle, there is my camera, and then there is a ring light around that one. That one just warms around my face a little bit more and gives me a little bit more lighting. Then I have the light on the top right, which is not mirrored on the other side because I'm too lazy to go get it out of the box, but it should be there. And then I have a mirror that I botched onto a microphone arm, which is on the side, which means that it has to float, which is fantastic for me. And then on the right there you can see is another ring light and another camera, and that's the one that I use when I'm streaming on a weekend. So you can see that in the bottom right hand corner. So on the weekend I have that camera there which points at me while I stand and I do my body paints. Then to the right of that, well, have a guess, it's another camera and some more lights. And so what I tend to do when I have my stream set up is I take a lot of videos, so I pause and then I go off and do like the most cringeworthy like transition over here, and then I'm like, sorry, what were you saying, to my chat. And then I've also just included the backdrop of what I use on my photography setup at the back down here. More lighting. And so that is what lights up the backdrop and what give me this kind of like different colored glow. Or if I want a black backdrop, then I can just put a fabric one in there. So overall, I didn't start with this, but I generally feel like you'll upgrade over time. So don't feel like you need to suddenly start by doing what I've done and buy 9 lights. It's just the more that you want to do over time, then the more you'll accumulate. I streamed off a suitcase for the best period of about 6 months with a camera that was tied to a tripod with an alt belt. So if I can do it, you can absolutely do it as well.
I'm sorry, mine is a bit messy compared to the other ones, but so this is my setup. I only have a tablet and like 2 screens above it. I would say digital art is a pretty easy thing to set up. If you already have like a tablet, if you already have a powerful PC, which I know it's not easy, but stream is just like an extra. So I stream with a camera, so I also use the two lights for my face and a camera, obviously. But if you guys go with like a PNG tuber or a VTuber, then you don't even need that. So I would put like digital art is super easy to set up. I do, however, do traditional art as well, and that is something, because for the cameras, like, you want to make sure that the light is okay, the colors are like the same as you have it on the painting, because then I keep saying, okay, so this is a bit more purple than it is on the camera, and then you keep saying that the entire stream. So maybe you guys can relate like how hard it is to get the same color on the camera as is on the artwork.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like I just keep adjusting the camera and then I'm like, now it matches. But it looks like I've lied, but I'm like, no.
When I don't have my lamp on over my desk, everything looks super yellow because of the white balance on the camera.
Oh no, yeah.
So then I turn like the lamp on, and then everyone's like, "Did you just change the saturation? This is what it looks like in real life." And it's like, "No, it is. It's just because the lamp's on now, so you can see."
That poor Minnie got flashbanged. All right, so something, oh wow, Adele's here, I don't know why. So something that is really important for a lot of people to discuss and a lot of people feel nervous about is chat interaction. I don't know why Adele's here, but Adele's here, so fantastic. Anyway, this is what it's meant to be. When it comes to chat interaction, a lot of people find this really nerve-wracking, but what you do have as an advantage as an artistic streamer is that usually a lot of art streams, I'm not going to say they're dead because they're not, but usually a lot of art streams are quiet, and that is something that you just have to accept because sometimes people are working alongside you as well. So what I used to do when I was first starting out is I used to like have a little post-it note, and during the week, if I thought of the most ridiculous thing ever, or I would like see something that crazy that happened, or I heard something on the radio, I would jot it all down onto a post-it note and I'd stick it there. And when I had like a lull and I was like, oh my God, it's so awkward, I would just like pull little bits from my post-it note and then I would talk about that. Another thing that I tend to do as well, which is great if you've been doing maybe streaming for a little bit longer, because at first it feels very overwhelming. There's so many things to focus on, like what's my bit rate? Oh my goodness gracious me, am I still online? Oh my God, have I just been banned? And so there's a lot of things at the moment that you're kind of like, So what you can learn to do is, and what I do is I memorize a few key lines in chat, and then when I go back to my painting, I'm just reciting them and I'm like, oh yeah, so actually, yeah, absolutely, now that you mention it, Thomas the Tank Engine is kind of weird. So I kind of do that, but I'm not looking at the chat at that point. I'm just remembering little bits so I can carry on doing exactly what I'm doing, and I'm not losing time doing the artwork just by talking to people. What about you guys?
So for me, sometimes there are parts of the artwork that is really hard to talk, like when you're sketching out a new piece and then you're fully in the zone and you want to focus. And then there's this interesting conversation going on at the same time. So what I tend to do is I tend to pause and then like pause the artwork, answer the question, and then go back to the artwork. But you're kind of sacrificing one or the other in a way. So I'm definitely faster in art when I'm not streaming, and I'm better in talking when I'm not drawing. So either like you sacrifice one or the other, or like take breaks and then like do art for a while and then talk for a while.
Yeah, so I tend to talk a lot more than I paint, and then I go on deep dives and I get distracted, and it just sort of turns into a chatting stream at that point. But we do eventually get back to painting, but yeah.
Yeah, basically, don't really worry about it. It happens a lot in art streams, but I can see why initially people kind of like worry and they think like, oh my God, I'm not talking. But like, they're probably drawing alongside you. I have a lot of people who play games alongside at the same time. And if they're in some kind of battle royale, like, I'm not going to expect them to answer my question at the same time. Like, come on, let's be real. Okay, so something that I have a lot of, and I'm sure other people do too, is imposter syndrome. How do you guys deal with it?
I just think that I'm the best at everything I do.
Ego.
So a lot of, in the painting community, you get a lot of people who do a lot of competitions. Like, I mainly do competition painting. So it kind of feels like if you're not winning, like pins and trophies, then you're not supposed to be there, kind of thing. Because everyone else who streams mini painting is getting pins and trophies, and then they're worrying, like, if I don't win a trophy, like, people will stop watching, and then it kind of rubs off onto you as well. But yeah, just kind of get full of yourself and just be like, yeah, I'm the best at this. I'm supposed to be here. Like, that's kind of how I deal with it.
Oh, that's good, because I had so many issues with that. Like, for me, I'm creating an artwork, and I'm like, is this good enough? Like, do people hate me? Do they hate the art? But they don't really care, because they're just working alongside me. But if you guys ever get into this, like, overthinking when you're streaming, when you're creating art, like, you're not alone. Like, I feel like I'm at a pretty great level with my art, but I still have times where, like, I had to turn off the stream and I wanted to cry because I felt like the art was bad, but the community didn't see it the same way. Like, they didn't really see that the art would be bad. They were just there to chill. And yeah, and they really liked the art that I was creating. I was just the only one that got in my head, and I felt like it wasn't good enough.
I think that's a really key thing, is that whenever you have imposter syndrome, you are just in your head. It is your brain bullying you. One of the things that kind of changed my mind about it was when I saw how somebody else saw something like the disaster that is Twitter. And what they were saying is I post something on Twitter and I'm like, my artwork is out there. I finally put it out there. Oh my goodness gracious. I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, that looks awful. Why did I think that was a good idea to put out there? It looks disgusting. Like, oh my God, who do I think I am? But then when someone scrolls past it, they think, oh, cool artwork. And then they'll maybe hit like and they'll be like, this is cool. And then they'll scroll past. At no point have they been like, is the bicep on the creation of Adam a little bit bigger than God's? Like, at no point is anybody doing that. And so another thing that I was doing, which has really dramatically helped me over time as well, is I had a raging imposter syndrome, as I've mentioned. So my community and I have made something called an achievement frame, and it sits in my office. And for all of the little things that I've been able to do during my career as an artist, I've printing out like a little photo. So say it's something like, maybe you made like top 10 in a mini competition or something. I took photos of those and I popped it in this frame. And every time I'm kind of like, oh my God, like I just got, then I can turn around and I can see it and it's there. And it's really nice to just have like a good visual of things that you've done that you're proud of. It doesn't have to be like everything you've ever won, how much money you've made in a month one time. Like maybe one time you turned over 6 figures and you're like, Jesus Christ. It doesn't have, I mean, it can be, but it doesn't have to be anything like that. It's what you're proud of. And that's the most important thing. And having that, I think, as a visual in like an office space so you can see it is really, really important. And then that works for me. But finding little ways to deal with it, because just remember, it is your brain that is just bullying you. And nobody is scrutinizing your artwork. And if they are, that's weird and they should get in the bin. Okay, so something that I feel like everybody always wonders about artwork is how to earn some money. We all know if you want to become rich, you become an artist. So let's see how we do it. All right, do you want to go first with your artist alley?
Oh yeah, so if you guys are on TwitchCon, but I have an artist alley booth below, so if you wanted to go check it out, the number is 4301. You can see me from the main street. I left my boyfriend right now there, and he's very scared, so hi, sorry. But I love tabling, because people get to see my artwork on Twitch, but they also get to see my artwork IRL, and they're like, oh, I've seen you creating this, like I want to buy that, and it's kind of a great way how to meet your viewers. Plus, you're not just like walking around TwitchCon, but you're showing what you do and what you're proud of. And not only that, sometimes there's a lot of like interesting opportunities that can come with it. Like I had people that come at my table and they were like, oh, we're doing a comic cover. Would you like to do our next comic cover? So it's a great way to put exposure to your work and like, showcase your art.
Just to add to that,
Okay.
last year I came and I pretty much found all of the people I generally commission for art from Artist Alley from last year's Twitch.
Nice.
So, there you go.
Nice. And so when it comes down to commissions, how do you guys handle that?
You can start, Froggy.
It's a bit more complicated with Warhammer because you have to decide whether they're going to send you the mini they've already bought or if you have to go and buy it. And then a paint scheme, how they want it done. Like, do they just want it tabletop? Do they want it displayed? Do they want it competition standard? And you have to kind of, I think the hardest thing is like picking a price. You don't want to undersell yourself, but you also don't want to like scare people away by being like, oh, a Space Marine's like 200 pounds. Like everyone's kind of like, oh, okay, so if I have a whole army, that's a lot. But like, it is a lot of time to paint it. And yeah, you just don't want don't want to undersell yourself. That's the main thing.
But that's tough. I feel like in the beginning you always do, which is fine. I've done that so many times. But right now, commissions are my main source of income. And it's kind of great that as a digital artist, I get to do them on Twitch as well. So I'm doing my commission while I have people watching. I think you do that too, right?
Yeah, I do that as well.
Yeah, so that's nice. And it's really good for exposure. So if you guys if you want to draw Twitch emotes, for instance, then streaming them on Twitch, it's easy exposure because then people see that you're drawing Twitch emotes and I want that too. Could I commission you for my Twitch emote? So I definitely recommend it.
I think that sounds really good as well. So when it comes as well to having an online shop, obviously, you can sell your artwork on an online shop. That's pretty straightforward. The service I personally use is Big Cartel, and I would recommend that, but they put their prices up. So I just recommend looking elsewhere first if you wanted to check. But how I run my online shop is a little bit different, and we'll see how you guys run your shops as well. I stole the idea from Hypebeast shops, and so what I do is the problem I found was I was very busy with doing the streams and I was very busy with my brand deals, and then I was getting different print orders, and I was like, I cannot handle this at the same time. Who do I prioritize? Do I prioritize the customer or do I prioritize the client? It's really difficult. So then what I decided to do was copy somebody else. And so what they do is they have a drop, and at some point there's a date and everyone knows that there's going to be new products launching on their shop on that date. They can pick the date whenever they want and everyone will queue up, and then that way you're able to really funnel in when you're getting these orders. So how I do it is at the end of the month, I will open my online shop. It's open now, mcross07.com, and I'll open my online shop, and then there'll be new products on there. There'll be last chance products on there. You can only get them during that weekend, and after the Monday, it's going to be completely shut down for the next month. Then everybody knows it's going to be open again after that. I found that to be very successful. I've actually had more shop orders than I have ever had before, and also everyone knows that they're going to be wanting to save some money up. I do a paint during the month, and they're like, is this going to be on the online shop? And I'm like, hell yeah. It is now. So I'm able to get a good idea of what people want. Then I just spend the next few days processing those orders. I get them all shipped out, and I have the rest of the month free from worrying about online shop work. So I really funnel mine just because I was quite busy elsewhere. And I found that to be quite successful. I appreciate it's not necessarily the norm with online print shops, but I also print each one out myself. So each one is printed personally. I don't have a stack, which I imagine you guys would have, of prints. So it's difficult for me to be able to print each one out per order and then manage it that way. So that's how I manage it. But what about you guys?
So for me, mine is pretty basic. You see an artwork and then you can order it on a store, because I have to print it out in a batch. So I do 200 prints order and then I ship it myself. But I'm at the point where I don't have that many orders, so it's kind of okay for me to send it out, maybe in the future we'll see, and then I can run it similar to Mcroft. How about you, Froggy?
So I just have a kind of generic shop that just has drop ship stuff all the time, t-shirts that I've designed and things. In terms of art, I do have a section on my shop for if I paint a mini that isn't for a commission and I want to sell it. It's really hard putting them up there because it's I spent so long on this. I love this so much. I don't want to. So I'll load it on and then it's I'll publish it later. I'm just going to keep it for a little bit. I am thinking of doing nice photos and doing little postcard things that I've seen people do. And that seems to be quite nice. So I like that.
Yeah, online shops are successful, but also they also add to, if somebody's going to Google your username, and then your online shop will also pop up, not just your socials, which is also just another hit that you can make sure directs straight to you, which is really, really helpful. And then going on to brand deals. So I tend to work a lot with more brand deals. I thought I had a wasp stuck to me then. My God. So I work with a lot of brand deals, and what I tend to do is I make adverts on social media commission-based by maybe a film company or a video game company. I used to reach out to them and it was daunting, but luckily I've done it for so many years now that they reach out to me. And what you want to do with this is, I think it can get into a really big moment where you like overthink everything, like, oh my God, what shall I do? But if they've hired you, it's because they already like what you're doing. So you want to make sure that you do something that blends in with the rest of your timeline, because if it sticks out like a sore thumb, it's going to look weird to everyone. It's going to look weird to you. It probably isn't going to feel like normal. So how a brand deal works generally is, they're in touch with you now. We'll skip past that part of how to get in touch with them because there's about a million ways, but I'll touch on that in a minute. They get in touch with you and then they say, hey, there's a new film coming out. Like, we'd really like you to do an art piece or whatever for it. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And then you suggest your rates and then they negotiate because they're like, ah, and then you're like, ah. And so then in the end, you get the deliverables that you want to be working on and then you agree on what rate it's going to be. You sign a contract, read your contracts. That's very important. Read your contract and just remember that sometimes some companies are a little shady. I once had a company who told me in emails that they wanted 24 hours of exclusivity. When I read that contract, it said 5 weeks. And I was not very happy with it, but overall I managed to get that changed in the contract. You can ask for changes in your contracts. So make sure you read that and then you sign it. You go away, you make your video or you make whatever commission it is, and then you provide it with them afterwards and say, this is what I've done. And then they're like, cool, great work, thank you so much. And maybe they've got a few changes and then you'll agree on a caption and then it'll get posted. Once it's been posted, you'll likely have to do a report of how well it did on socials. And I know that's really drastic because then you have to have all of the statistics put in your face and you have to show them, look how well it did. It got 10 likes. And then overall, it can be a little bit daunting. But then they'll ask for a report, all well and good, you send an invoice and then you get paid. So that's generally how they work. I think that they're a really good opportunity to push yourself, to try and do something that's a little bit more extra, which I like to do all the time. However, don't push yourself so far that you do something completely different because, as I've mentioned, they've hired you to do something that is really important for you. So when it comes to working with brands, one of the best places I've actually found is actually Twitter. X. And there's a lot of people on there who they just post stuff like, hey, like, you know, if you're a creator, we're looking for creatives, and you will find people who are community managers. They're fantastic to follow, and you can reach out to people as well. One of the most important things that I thought was really, really fantastic advice is if you like something, then shout about it, because as the name may suggest, I really like Tomb Raider. And then if I didn't post anything about Tomb Raider would never get in touch with me. They have no idea. But if I'm out there being like, oh my God, the new game's coming out, I'm going to do a face paint, I'm going to do a makeup look, you're screaming about it already, then they're looking for things like that. So in the same kind of manner, make sure you shout about the things that you're passionate about. Overall as well, I think it's just generally important to just scream about yourself on social media. You kind of have to just get over yourself in a little bit of a way. But screaming about that has been really successful for me for finding different jobs out there. And so I highly recommend just being quite loud about it. And then that's how I've ended up with brand deals. At first, I used to email them after finding them and just telling them that I was a massive fan. And like 1 out of 50 emails, I'd get someone be like, oh my God, no way, that's great, let's work together. And it is daunting. But if you don't get emails back, please do not fret. They just have a lot of people that they're getting through. There's nothing wrong with sending them another email. Do not do it the next day. Maybe wait like a few months before you do that. Be like, hey, I'm still really interested. I'd love to collab. Let's see what we can do. Don't write them a dissertation, but generally tell them roughly what you're working on, like what you do, what you're excited about, and make sure you keep an eye on things on social media too, because that's really where I get a lot of mine from.
Yeah. In terms of like also like reaching out and finding people, it's probably a bit different in the mini community, but I go to a lot of conventions where like mini game companies have booths, and I just go and talk to them, and they're normally very small, like they're kind of niche companies. So the people in charge of them are generally there. So if you just go up and look cute, and then they're very like, oh, do you wanna have some minis? Do you wanna have this and paint this for us and just shout us out, and then we'll send you some brushes and you can review them and things. So yeah, it's just sort of trying to get over that like scaredness of going and talking to people. It's a lot of talking to people. I recently went to like, Adepticon in the US, and I did not have a free day. I was just in the exhibitor hall every day, just talking to as many people as I could, like giving my cards out to as many people, and yeah, that's how I did it anyway.
Oh, you guys are cool with talking to people. So I don't talk to people, but I got brand deals, so that counts. I'm mostly like behind my tablet like a gremlin, and I keep drawing all day. And then somebody reaches out, they're like, Tofu, do you want to be a Copic instructor? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Sure. So I had a deal with Copic because I was using the markers a lot, and they've seen me. They were like, "Really like your art. Would you like to be a part of this program?" And I'm also very passionate about League of Legends. I don't play it on a stream, luckily, but I do draw it a lot. So I had Riot reach out to me, and I had a chance to do a commission for them, not for a splash art, but for their social media. So I think even if you're like shy to reach out to people, it's better to reach out to people. But if you're really shy to reach out, then if you're really passionate about something, they'll eventually find a way to you. It's just gonna take a bit longer.
Yeah. I can agree more.
Also, if you are doing something a little niche, kind of like mini painting or like body painting, maybe raiding into other streams who have deals, they generally like
Sniping them.
yeah. Well,
Take it.
lots of brands, in my experience, they will have someone in the chat just sort of lurking, just sort of keeping an eye. So if you do raid, they might take a look at you. They might send you an email or something. They might not, but like it's worth always raid out when you're done. Never just go to the void.
I think, especially speaking on that, I think people get this idea that it's not happening, but it is. But companies are always looking for new people to work with. They don't want to just keep spitting the same thing out with the same people over and over again. And sorry, because I can talk for England, I realized I missed something out earlier. One of the things that I think is really important and really key to know is that when you're creating something, you don't really have to worry too much about having like a social media space. But when you are discussing rates, if you also sell something on social media, such as a stream of you creating this artwork, then you can charge more. And when you have more followers and as you grow, you can slowly increase your prices too. The best way, and I know it's not always nice, but the best way to think about it is like, if you're working with a company, you have to prove that you can market yourself, because that means that you can market their product or their service. The more followers or the more concurrent viewers you also have, the bigger the billboard space is that you're showcasing to them, because they're targeted. They're all people who want to be working with miniatures. And so that's why all of a sudden they'll correlate there. So then you can slowly increase your prices for things like that. But don't be scared as well of you may be discussing someone. If you're really scared about discussing rates, you can be like, what's your budget? And then you can kind of throw the ball back in their court, and then usually they'll come back and then you can work from that. So if you're like, I don't know what to charge, generally be like, what's your budget? And then they can come back with something, and then it can give you a head start. Say you were going to cost them 50 grand and they come back like, oh yeah, we've got like 500 quid. Then you can be like, oh, okay, no problem. Okay, I'll just bring it down. So overall, I think keeping an eye on something like that, and it's a good little like batting way to find out a better idea of rates, is also really good. Social media.
Oh no.
I don't think my thumb's strong enough for this.
Do you need help?
Oh, no, I got it. Thank you. All right. So, Froggy, how about you go?
I'm terrible at social media. I try and post as much as I can on my Instagram stories and on my Instagram, because it is art, and Instagram's like the art-based one with lots of pictures. It is kind of going more towards reels now. So, but you can make videos with static images, so it's kind of fine. And like post clips as well to your reels, to your TikTok, that sort of thing. The hardest thing about social media is the statistics. I do not look at mine at all. Like, I have it all hidden on Twitch. I don't look at it on Instagram. I don't look at it on Twitter. I just sort of let it happen, unless there is like a company that wants to know how well something went. But yeah, I think it is very like popular to hide the numbers and stuff. I see it in a lot of like starting out streaming Discords that people make. That the first like bit of feedback is just hide your viewer number. If it's 0 and you see that and you're like, oh God, no one's here, I'm just gonna stop talking because there's no one listening anyway, it really puts you off. And especially if you're like a chatty person, you sort of get flustered and you don't wanna carry on. If you have it like hidden, you don't know who's there. even if there's no one chatting, there might be people lurking, and it's just a lot more easier to be confident with what you're chatting about and just, yeah.
Oh, that is true. I hide my statistics because it's so bad. But the great thing is you can use social media without looking at the statistics. So for me, how I go on about it is I treat it like a journal. So if I post on my Instagram, I'm posting for myself and for the 10 likes, but I keep it like a journal. So in 2 years, I can go back and I can look and be like, all right, I've done this, 2 years ago, and now I've improved, and now I can do better artwork. So if you guys are ever struggling with like, is this good enough for Instagram? Like, just post it and be like, it is for me. I might look at it back in 3 years and then like what I've done.
Yeah, and then for me, I don't hide my statistics, although I should. I
one
know,
of those.
I know. But the reason why is because sometimes I'll post like a certain type of paint or something, and then I'm like, oh, that did really well. But I've got a bunch of like videos afterwards, so then I'll kind of like dot them around, and then I'm like, okay, cool. So this is kind of what people seem to be interested in. I notice there's a big difference for me when I post actually on YouTube versus when I post something on Instagram. On Instagram, people prefer to see like the body paints. Over on YouTube, they prefer to see like the face and chest stuff, and I wouldn't have known unless I looked at the statistics. But the statistics, I can tell you, they absolutely can completely rot your brain. They can take over everything, and they are not nice. I've been in that wormhole so many times. As long as you don't feel like it makes you feel worthwhile or like that's your only validation, because it's not. The thing that I always come back down to is that when it comes to something on social media, having followers, having so many viewers or something, okay, cool. So you're what? You're popular? What happened to the popular people you knew at high school? Nothing. Do you care now? No. No one cares about them. It's fine. So popularity is fleeting, but if you can work on your artistic skill, if all of social media, God forbid, all deleted itself tomorrow, you still have the skill as an artist. So make sure you put that at the forefront of everything. You're out there to get better. You're doing better. You're consistently learning. We're all trying to get better at art, and that's the thing that should carry you forwards, because people have had their accounts hacked sometimes, and it's really devastating, but you can't let that be the sole reason of like how you measure success. You cannot measure success that way. There are so many amazing streamers on Twitch who maybe stream to less than 5 people, but that doesn't negate the fact that they are fantastic artists. And I wanted to also follow on to what Froggy has said. If you're streaming to 0 people, there is a thing that you can do. If you open your own stream, you count as 1 viewer. No one knows it's you, but when I first started out on Twitch, I was just watching myself, and I would talk to myself, but no one knew, and it makes other people be like, oh, well, someone's here. They don't know it's me, and then that really helped me get the ball rolling. So there's never a reason to just stream to 0 people. You can always stream to 1. I did check. If I open the stream multiple times, it doesn't count. But there is just 1. So as just a solid guideline, have that in your back pocket, just so at least there's something out there that you feel comfortable. Maybe it's deception. I don't know. Makes you feel a little bit better, but I think that's fine.
It is deception.
On top of that, the viewer counts by IP. So even if you have like a squad of laptops, if they're all on the same IP address,
You guys know a lot.
But we've tried to
it's
hack
still
the
1.
system.
Ooh.
And the only last thing I wanted to say is as well is, please, I just want to echo what you guys have been saying. Do not overthink your posts. Can I have a show of hands? Who has seen some really low effort stuff on social media that you've really wondered how it's got millions of views? Great. So why are you overthinking your posts? You don't need to overthink them. You can post, I post high quality stuff, I post low quality stuff, a mix of both. Don't fret about it. Just throw it up there. It's completely fine. Kind of in a nice way, get over yourself. Just post it. You'll never know. I did one video. It was like the perfect transitions, the perfect lip syncs, and I think it got like 2,000 views. The one that I filmed myself in a mirror, they were the dirtiest mirror. And I was just looking at myself, and I like flicked my hair and was like, ooh, 200,000. It's the one that got Hayley Williams' hair dye brand, like their attention on me. And I sat there and I was like, what's the point? Really, what's the point? But as just a reminder, it's fine. Just don't overthink your posts.
I do feel that because I spend, I don't know, 30, 40 hours on an artwork and then post it and it gets like, 400 likes. And then I done a very low effort video. I wasn't even drawing, and it had 1.5 million views. Like that was, and it was just me just saying that I'm suffering while I'm drawing, and that was it. No art.
Relatable.
No art. Yeah.
Also, have a separate social account to your private one. Like, even when you start and you don't like expect a lot of people or you don't have a lot of people, you will get people eventually. And if they're all on like your private Instagram account and like in your family's birthday pictures, and it's like, yeah, this is kind of weird now. So just when you start, don't just be like, it's fine, it's only like a couple people to start with. Just make another account and just post everything to that.
I think that's a really good point as well. And more onto that from safety reasons. Say you've got an account and you've got like, I don't know, like 30 people on there and it's your private account. You think, I'm just going to change it over to why start? Some of those people might be people who follow you from high school. So if somebody starts to try and look for you, they'll notice what they've got in common. Maybe they're all from the same area. They can start pinpointing where you're based as well. So if at first you have like less than 100 followers, honestly, it's worth just starting a new one just to completely play that safe as well. So for safety, 100% recommend starting a new account. I got that one. All right, so going on to guidelines, because drawing artwork has sometimes gotten people in trouble.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Why don't you tell the table?
Do I have to? Okay. All right. So I started streaming on Twitch when I was 17, so I was pretty young. And as we all know, nudity is banned on Twitch. So when I was 17, my mom was watching the channel at the time. I was drawing a character in bikini, and apparently that was too much for Twitch, so I got banned for pornography. So my mom opens the channel one day, and then she sees banned for pornography, and my mom doesn't speak that much English, so she just looks at me, she's like, Petra, what are you doing? Like, what is this supposed to mean, right? Because it was a one-day ban, so I did try to explain, but it was pretty hard to explain why I got banned for like a swimsuit piece when there is more revealing stuff on Twitch, so I just went with it. So I'm not a good person to ask about guidelines. I break them.
Yeah, so a lot of 3D printed minis that companies make for display, like busts and things, a lot of the mini community is men. So a lot of the busts and a lot of the characters you can paint, it's very like boobs everywhere, not a lot of clothes. It's great for like artistic, like studying anatomy and stuff, but it's also like Twitch doesn't like you painting nipples or anything. No. So some things that I've seen mini painters do is either stick googly eyes on the mini just while they're painting on stream, or they have like a fancy camera that like tracks the point and just has like a little funny little image or something to go over it. Otherwise, just don't do it on stream. Like, don't paint that mini on stream, paint something else and just do it off stream.
Yeah, definitely don't push it. So even when you're doing art, I do a lot of art studies where you take a body and then you try to redraw it the same way to learn, but you have to give them little bras and painties just to make sure that you don't get banned, because again, don't push it.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, is playing it safe. So my avenue is body painting. So what I do before I go live is I make sure that I have my professional chest covers on, but I have so much paint on. I usually go from like my diaphragm almost up to my collarbone, and that part, and most of that paint is pretty much finished. And then I'll work on everything else during the stream. The rest of it usually takes me 9 hours anyway. So honestly, there's a lot. But overall, like just 100% play it safe. There's no reason that you need to try and push the boundaries on it. And I think that's what's really, really key and really important. So just play it safe if you're going to be streaming on Twitch. Just clothe them a little bit. Googly eyes, I don't think googly eyes would work for me, but googly eyes on the miniatures, etc., of finding a little way to just cover it. There is a shame, I think it is a little bit of a shame that a lot of people don't understand artistic nudity. You can look at the birth of Venus and not bite your lip over that, but for some reason people think in the modern day that, if somebody makes something new, it is kind of spicy. And I think that while that is a shame, it's just the world that we live in, unfortunately, at the moment. So play it safe when you're streaming your artwork on Twitch. I've seen a lot of streamers create 2 versions, especially when they're digital artists, and they'll do one version that's clothed, and then they will do that on a separate layer, and then off stream they'll maybe do the other version, which is more like artistic nudity, and then that can be posted elsewhere as long as that doesn't live on Twitch. So just as a note, you can sell that on your own website, etc. Yes, it's a bit more work to do off stream, but just remember to please play it safe, because you don't want to be banned like Tofu over here.
I don't know. But I'm not sure if you guys remember, but they actually opened up the rules in Twitch for like the art section. It was wild. I was out for a vacation and they were like, Tofu, look at Twitch. And then I looked and I've seen stuff that I haven't seen before.
Yep.
Yeah, it's still burnt in the back of my eyelids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw some stuff.
It was a bit of a shame because it was kind of like, oh, this is great because now we can do all these like artistic things.
Yeah.
But then people took it too
People
far.
pushed it.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, well,
It was one of
now.
those days where suddenly everyone's an artist.
Yeah.
Well, there was some sights.
Yeah.
But as you can see, just play it safe because you don't want to be put into that kind of bottle. But we do just want to like kind of end with more like have fun with your creativity. This is what we've done on Twitch and like our setups, etc. But I hope we haven't scared you too much. Generally, just have fun with what you're doing. You are creative for a reason. You guys, you're creating all this wonderful artwork, and it's great that you get to share it. You can share the process, you can talk to people, and you can ask them questions. And you don't need a lot to get started. Like Froggy started with a Sprite bottle and a camera taped to it. Like, you don't need that much. So I hope that there is something in there that has been inspiring to you guys. And with that, we'd like to ask if there's any questions that you guys have.
I have one.
Oh, go on. While we wait for some questions, we have a microphone just here. If you want to come up for questions, please go to the microphone. Go on, Tofu.
How many brushes do you have, Mcroft?
Well, a lot that haven't been cleaned, I'll tell you that. But I think I have about 500.
500?
I know, but the worst thing is someone recently bought me some more as like a gift, and I wish I was joking. I think there's about 400 in that box that they gave me. They were like, oh my God, I don't need these. You have them. And so, yeah, I was kind of like, well, I mean, I don't have to clean them.
You can just throw the bad ones away.
I just keep cycling through them. My dirty brushes part is a disaster. So much so that I thought I would clean them if I tipped them all in the sink. I haven't. The sink, I just keep washing my hands over the top of them and hoping for the best. It's so bad.
What about you, Froggy? How many brushes?
I have a million brushes.
A million.
So I came from traditional painting, so I have a load of like separate oil brushes. I have a load of separate acrylic canvas brushes, which is giant. And then I have all my mini brushes, and I just have so many of them. I pretty much only use like 3 of them to actually paint.
Oh.
But like the process of finding a brush that you like and a brand that you like, it can take a while, and you can like rack up a
Yes,
little
you have that
bit.
thing, don't you? It's not the right one.
Yeah.
It can look the same, but it's not the right
yeah.
brush. It will drive me insane.
Yeah, like paintbrushes are sized like 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, whatever. Like they're all the same size. It's pretty standard. But like, yeah, there's like one brand of paintbrush that I use now, and it's one specific like style in that brand. And it's like, this is perfect. But like, if they change it even like a little bit, I'll know. And it's like, God damn it. I'm going to have to find something else.
I don't think you're excluded from this, Tofu. How many digital brushes do you have?
So for me, it's different because I don't have to store them anywhere except for my drive, right? So I have a lot. Like the amount I spend for brushes is illegal. Yeah.
Where do you find them?
So usually like I'm browsing Instagram and then it's one of my favorite artists and they're like, I got a new brush set, it's just $30. I'm like, just $30? What's another $30? So I just buy stuff. So I bought a lot of them. I think there's maybe more than 500.
Maybe more than 5.
But I don't use them. I use 3. Yeah, just like you. So just 3 brushes.
We all do the same thing. You have so many, but you'll only focus on 3.
Yeah.
I think I've only ever bought like one brush on Clip Studio Paint. And,
Wow,
like,
minimalistic.
I just use that one. It's like, this one is perfect for everything I need it for. I don't touch any of the other ones.
I tried to make my own one and it didn't work out very well. And then but I made it from one of the default brushes and I don't know how to change it back. So I've just left it. I don't know what I'm doing with it. It's broken. Do you guys have any questions? Anything that feel free to come over to the mic. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to line up as well. You're more than welcome to. Oh my gosh, we're all so polite here. Hello.
I have many questions, but this one is the most important. I am trying to get my stream to run. I just opened like my shop, but I'm now also seeing like social media is important, but I'm also running a full-time job. So I, on average, stream 60 to 80 hours a month. I work 40 hours a week. I know that you did this in the beginning as well, but how can I balance social media next to that as well? Because I do art in a co-working space, so those streams are long by nature. How can I find the best balance and what social media to focus on?
The one thing that I tend to do is I do batch upload my stuff because social media is hell to look at and I don't like doom scrolling. So what I do is I schedule a lot of stuff. So maybe it'll be like Sunday night and I'll be sat watching some god-awful horror film that shouldn't exist. And then I'll sit there and I'll be scheduling them and I'll be like, yeah, post that one on the Saturday, post that one on the Monday, and then I'll be like, throw that one up. Another thing that I also tend to do is just on social media sites where you can't schedule things, but you can make drafts, just make the draft, and then when you have a few minutes, just post it. You open the app, and then you just post it, and you just fire it away, and then that's what it is. So that's a really good way to kind of get stuff out, but obviously that doesn't take away from the fact that you feel like you have to make the post initially, which especially, I know we mentioned earlier, like a lot of it can be focused on videos. One of the things that I think is a good thing to utilize is CapCut do have a lot of really great templates. Some of those are the most insane templates I've ever seen in my life, but they like trend and people like silly stuff. So make a collection of like just throwing bits in there. And something that I found was really simple was just being like, hey, I made this and I'm really proud of it. I'll be like, hey, I tried to do this, and then just post something like that. And people are usually really quite receptive to that. So, and that's quite a low effort thing to do. When it comes to me making things like my transition videos or my makeup removal videos, the bit at the beginning and the bit at the end, I have sat there for like half an hour, filmed myself being like, oh, all gone differently in so many different ways. I've chopped up that footage and I just throw that before one of my videos or at the end of a video. I'm not sat there doing another thing after I've taken off all the makeup. I've just batch created those. So finding little ways that you can like batch create stuff is really, really helpful. What about you guys?
So for me, what helps me a lot too is like as an artist, every social media is different. So for Instagram, I throw in everything. I don't care that much. Then for like, if you're using DeviantArt or ArtStation, I try to put the full pieces. So ArtStation is more like portfolios. That's where I put the best stuff, like the coolest thing that Tofu did. And then the other ones are just, I just copy whatever I have on Instagram. But a great way to think about it is like, let's say that you spend 30 hours on an artwork. Like what's another 15 minutes spending it, like posting it on social media, right? Because you already put those 30 hours into the art, so like take those 15 minutes and put it everywhere.
Fair, that's really, really good point.
I can't add much because I lost my job before COVID and I've just been streaming since. But one of the easiest ways that I've found to interact with people off stream and that people seem to enjoy is responding to comments. Like, unless you have like 100 comments or something and you can't respond to all of them, if someone says like, oh, I really like this is really nice, like just say like just a quick little like, oh, thank you so much. Like everything helps. So
cool. Small addition, how do you stand towards reposting? So you have posted an artwork and 6 months later, because my art takes a lot of time, is that a no-go?
Do it.
Just
Do it.
repost it.
Do it.
Just post it.
Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah, just post it. They'll get new followers and they'll be like, wow, cool. And other people will be like, oh my God, I loved this piece. And then you're like, or you'll get someone, oh, I before had my moderators comment, oh, could you do Darth Talon? And I'm like, hell yeah. And then I reply to the comment with my Darth Talon piece I did last year. And then they're like, people are like, oh my God, she takes suggestions. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. And then people are like, do Catwoman. And I'm like, ha, baited. So then I'll just be like, nice, okay, cool. And then I'll post Catwoman, and then people are like, she listens.
They're not gonna remember. Like if you posted something 2 years ago and you post it again, they'll be like, cool new piece, Tofu.
And it's also like if it's like you're gonna constantly get new people looking at it. So like you're gonna have people that didn't see it when you posted it the first time because they didn't exist, or well, they existed, but like yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah, so just repost things. Don't worry about it. Just
Or you could also post sketches. That works for me. Like I posted sketches that have ended up having more likes than the final piece that took 40 hours. So sketches are good too.
Yeah. Don't overthink it. Just post it.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, hello. Thank you for being so informative. I was wondering specifically for you, Tofu, as a fellow freelancer, how do
Okay.
you balance the freelance
I
streaming
don't.
life? Oh dear.
So I started doing my career when I was in high school. So my last 2 years of high school, don't tell my teachers, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was just drawing. And then it kind of went into me being a full-time streamer and an artist. But there are times where I'm like, you can get a lot of income because let's say, I don't know, May, I'll have a lot of commissions and then February is totally dead and I'm wondering if I should get another job in like McDonald's or something. So it is tough. I think it's great to find your main income. So for me, like it is commission. So I prioritize commissions. And like streaming is, it used to be my main source of income, but now it's more on the side. So it's something that I do when I can share what I'm drawing, because I'm working on a lot of projects that I can't share at the moment. So yeah, just kind of pick the main thing and focus on that, because you don't want to focus on, like, let's say I was streaming for 100 hours in March, like for the month, and I earned the same amount of money as for a commission I can do in 10 hours. So it's like, if you want to make money with it, it's great to see like, hey, is this a good source of income, like versus the time I put in. So just prioritize different things.
Have you ever had to take a hiatus from streaming because of a freelance focus?
I had to now, because like I had last weekend I had a convention. Now I have a convention. I have a panel. So I had to take like a little break. So I took down the streams, but I try not to. But I also like sometimes it's at the like I overwork myself and then I'm really stressed out about it. And then people can see it on a stream. Like when you had a lot, like I think it was another day that somebody came in. They said, "You don't look like human anymore." And I had no idea what that meant, but it kind of stuck with me. I'm like, all right, maybe I should take a break. So
I really meant that nicely.
yeah, I hope so.
I think like leading on to that, it's really important that you do recognize, because I didn't for a long time and sometimes I still don't, that your community, generally they actually kind of like you. And if you are like, I need to go to sleep because, or like, I cannot stream this week because I have this big job and I'm so excited about it, then they'll be like, okay, cool, like no problem. But just like let them know, like if you just like disappear, then they're going to be like, where the hell did Tofu go? Is she dead? Like usually something like that will happen. But I usually like let my Discord chat know. I'm like, hey, I'm really struggling with like one of my freelance jobs at the moment. I just need some more time. Maybe we'll make up for it. I'll do the best that I can. And people are actually really, really understanding. And again, if somebody does not understand that, they are not a good community member and they can get in the bin. Like generally, I think that's really important to keep.
And they get excited for you. So I shared that I'm working on like super cool secret stuff, and like once it gets released, it'll be amazing. So they get excited with me, and then you kind of get them on the hype train. And then you're like, okay, I can share it now. And they're like, whoa. And then we go on about it on a stream, and then we talk about it on a stream. So if you need to take a break, take a break.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
no problem. Cool. Yeah. Does anybody else have any other questions?
One quick one is, how long do you kind of spend then on art stream? I know if I've done a mini painting stream, I'll go, okay, I'm going to build 10. I'm going to build 10, I'll build 3, and then by the time I'm like, great, I didn't really get much achieved here, and then I get into my head a little bit. Do you find that's the same, or?
yeah, yeah. So I don't particularly get a lot done on stream because I'm too busy chatting. We timed it once in a 6-hour stream. I did 34 minutes of painting.
No way.
You're in the wrong category.
We did like a 5-hour like diversion on the entire story of Darth Maul. So that was with diagrams. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you're the person to answer this question.
Yeah, just sort of don't stress it. Like, people are there to like see you mainly, and like, Like, yeah, it's fine. Like, I don't get a lot done. Not many people get a lot of stuff done. Just because it is streaming, you are interacting with chat. So it's kind of a given that you won't get a lot done. If you feel like you could have done more, just do it off stream. Do it the next day if it's like too late. I do tend to go overtime a lot, so I aim for about 5 or 6 hours, but I do tend to sort of finish at like 3 a.m. because I've just like the last like hour or so I've managed to lock in and actually start doing things. But yeah, just go with what feels comfortable. Don't force yourself to stream for a long time. If you're like on a day where you've like booked yourself for 5 hours and by the second hour you're like, oh, I'm so dead, I can't do this, I can't do anything else, like you've lost all motivation, it's fine. Your community will understand. You can have a break, either have like a 10-minute break or just end stream. Like they will understand, it's fine. Everyone has a bad day, like it's fine.
And it is creative after all. So if you have to create an artwork and you're really not in the right headspace, like just, take the break. You'll do another day. Maybe another day you do 7 hours of a stream because you felt like it. But generally, I would say that people don't really care how much you do on a stream, because I do a lot. Like I get a lot of stuff done on a stream, but sometimes I ignore chat. Sometimes I forget that I'm streaming. But I don't really have people that would come out and be like, all right, this is good. You finished an entire artwork. Like I'm proud. I could have watched this, right? So they're just there to chill, to just kind of have something in the background and like work with you.
I just make a joke out of it. I'd be like, look, I need focus time, and I'd make some kind of overlay, and then maybe the overlay could be like brought in from like channel points, so they can set it off and be like, shut up and do some painting, and you can be like, oh my god, absolutely, and then you can go ahead and do that. So I just make a joke out of my stuff. I used to have this focus time one where I narrated myself as a sports commentator what I was doing, and I think I had given myself like 4 minutes, where I had 4 minutes to just do as much painting as possible because I was not doing any work. I just make a joke out of it, and then that way you can get a bit more done, and it makes the whole stream a little bit more like, this is not painting, we're going to have to go into that. It's like, find something funny about it. But yeah, if you're not feeling like you want to be as productive as possible, I know some people do like, we're going in emote only chat, right? We can't do this. We all need to like buckle down. Let's all do something. And then you can kind of like figure it out that way, because you can also be like, Jesus Christ, I haven't done anything. But I just make a joke out of it.
Okay, thank you very much.
I also have a channel point redeemed. It's the cheapest one on my channel. It's like 5 points, and it's just paint. And and then like it doesn't do a noise anymore because I got too annoyed with it. But now it just like fills up chat with just redeemed paint. It's like, okay, I need to get back to it.
All right, one last question. Hi.
Oh, I've actually got 3 questions.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Go for it.
When you first started out with your first commission, how long, on average, did it take you per day to work on it? Next to work and school and stuff.
My first commissions were Twitch emotes, actually, instead of minis. They took maybe an hour each, like just because I'm very pedantic about stuff that I make. For my minis, at the moment, I kind of go by size of mini rather than how long it'll take me. So something like a Space Marine will be cheaper than like a big guy. But yeah, I just kind of looked at what other people were charging, because generally commission prices, they have like a card or like a booth account or something, and everything's like listed out quite nicely. So you can just go and have a little peek at what everyone else is doing, and yeah.
I don't think it's really great to time it, because like the better you get, the faster you get as well.
Yeah.
So then like, would you undercharge yourself if you got just faster, right? So like, think about what it's worth, right? And like how much time it takes. Like it's great to take into consideration, but
like I can paint something not competition standard, but almost in about like 3 or 4 hours now. So yeah, so I could either charge for 3 or 4 hours of work, or I could charge for the effort and like instead. So, but yeah.
I don't take commission.
Yeah.
Sorry. We've got about like 1 minute left. So what are your other 2 questions?
Oh, how do you deal with a project where halfway you're like, you know, I may have bit off more than I could chew. You know, I still have so much I have to get done, and like, yeah, I have a lot of detail, a large piece with a lot of detail and a lot of stuff going on. How do you manage that?
Have a break. Have a break. Do a palette cleanser. Do something completely different. If I get bored of painting like minis, or I am getting too overwhelmed with a competition piece, I stop doing mini painting. I get my sketchbook out. We just do like pencil sketches for like a couple of days until I feel like I can get back to it without losing the consistency of what I've already done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not really a good person to answer this question because I just suffer until it's done because I have to do it all in one go because I can't go to sleep until it's finished. So for me, I kind of just go through it. But I try to do like the bits that I think are the hardest first and then cry through them and then I avoid them and then I don't do it. So I'm really not the best person for this one, but I kind of just like make myself go through the parts which I probably don't really want to do and then it just slowly like all fills in for me.
I think, sorry. The other thing is like, if I am like planning a mini or like a canvas or something, I do it in digital first, like a really bad Photoshop kind of version with like scribbles and everything. And then like, if I am like losing track of what I'm doing or I don't know what to do next, I can just like look back at that and be like, okay, so I've done this. I've actually done quite a lot. That makes me feel better. Like, and then, yeah, you can just...
Oh, you mentioned the details, but don't feel like you have to push out only final pieces. Like sometimes it's good to do study. You know, you don't, because for me it's the same. Like sometimes I'll be like, okay, I have to finish this. But if it's just for yourself, if it's a commission, then finish it. But if it's just for yourself, you can just let it go. You know, you can do another piece. Like you don't have to finalize everything.
Yeah. Oh, and the final one, on social media, do you stay within a community where you're at with your art, or do you also, you know, go to other art communities and like post under them? Because I don't know how well that works, or if it's like a very niche art you're working on.
I think that depends as well. So for instance, I do artwork that's based on loads of different things. I do like video game stuff. I'll do things which are based on like film, TV, like random things. Or sometimes I'll just focus purely on makeup and I'll just use like different hashtags for all of those. So I'll try and hit up different places. Do not box yourself into anywhere. Like if you post something on social media, somebody who's in that art community will be like, cool. Somebody who's out of that art community will be like, cool. So I wouldn't box yourself in, just 100%, just post stuff like all over Twitter, is actually a good one despite it being a hellhole. But overall, I think like, don't box yourself into anything. Just, you know, you can focus on different communities, but absolutely just get your stuff out there and repost your own stuff as well. So don't box yourself in. I think that's really important.
It's also, if you are in like another streamer's Discord server and they have an art channel, obviously don't be like, oh, I'm an artist and I did this and I take commissions and blah, blah, blah. Just like post it and be like, oh, I did this and I'm really proud of it. And like, that's all that. Yeah, do that. And it's kind of, I feel like I have a slight advantage because there are Warhammer people everywhere, like in every little nook and crevice. Like I make one like Warhammer reference in the streamer's chat and then suddenly like everyone is like, blood for the blood god, wah! And it's like, okay.
Wonderful. What about you? Anything?
I don't feel like I really have anything to add because I'm
Okay.
lazy to post in communities.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your questions. I really appreciate it. That's all we have time for today. Maybe we ran over it a little bit. That's my fault. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your TwitchCon and we'll see you guys around. Thank you so much. Thank you.
See you in the Artist Alley.
Oh my God. Yeah, go to Artist Alley. Booth 4301.
4301.
Thank
I'll
you
be
so
there in
much.
3.